Welcome to the Encourager Podcast. I'm Rebekah Scott. I own Rebekah Scott Designs, where I am the designer and the CEO. I believe that if you desire an active, impactful role in your children's lives while simultaneously wanting to provide an income for your family, then being a mompreneur is exactly what you need to work at home. The Encourager Podcast is my way of inspiring and motivating you with insightful knowledge, tips, and advice from myself and other successful working women who put their families first. So let's take action and encourage one another. So I wrote a book. Say what? Yes, I did. It's called Equipped to Execute, guiding moms to joyfully impact their families and business. Oh, you know when you listen to a podcast and you think, goodness, I wish I could write that down, or I wish I could refer back to that in written form? Well, that's why I wrote it. I needed to answer the question, how do you do it, for you and for myself? So this labor, and I do mean labor of love, will be available for pre-orders for our book launch team. Visit theencouragerbook.com for details on the incentives, which include signed books, speaking gigs, a full day to brainstorm your business with me, and awesome Rebekah Scott Designs product to go with. The book includes chapters about how to ward off fear, how to set goals, how to make key decisions, and how to execute your dreams while raising your family, and loads of stories of my own journey with business and a growing family. So hop on, pledge what your heart screams for you to do, and pre-order yours today. We got this, Encouragers. Hello, Encouragers. Today, I wanted to talk to you about simplifying working from home. I think the biggest thing that makes us stop even thinking about the option of working from home is just a feeling of being overwhelmed. When you have a job that you go to from 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or whatever it is, there are certain things that happen at certain times because of the structure that the higher ups have made for you. And thinking of working from home feels like freedom, but it also feels like fear because there's not those parameters on when to do your work, how to do your work, why you're doing your work, and that sort of thing. So I thought I would narrow down my top 3 secrets of working from home. And I will continue to keep that in mind as I record the podcast for the second series of The Encourager, that overwhelming feeling, because I remember that in the beginning and thinking freedom. And then in the very next breath thinking, goodness sakes, this is scary because of all the freedom. So I'm going to help you narrow down and create parameters, especially around your small children, that will help you to still get the work done and find just as much joy at working from home that I have found. When you start to feel overwhelmed, make sure that you have filled out my application process. Seems like an application because it's kind of wordy, but you need that to decide where you're going to work, how you're going to work, what you're going to work on, who's going to help you. Remember those questions from that episode. If you could fill that out, then it's easier to create your parameters on when things are going to happen. Okay. So the first secret is to time everything. Now, you've heard me talk about this before, but this is my secret. It helps with my perspective on daily chores and home chores and work chores, whatever it might be. It really helps when you have timed everything. And I'm not saying you need to walk around with a stopwatch. I use my oven timer a lot for the kitchen chores just because it's digital and it's just easy for me to go, that only took 4 minutes. Well, it helps my perspective. So some examples of what I have timed are, I time how long it takes me to do dishes. I don't let dishes pile up too much because it's a personal thing when the countertops are cleaned off, which I do have the nanny do before she goes home. Make sure you do that. It helps me reset and get into the family mode instead of feeling like I'm behind before I get into the family mode. And the dishes or the sinks cleaned out, it's a personal thing for me that needs to happen. But let me tell you, it does not happen for the breakfast dishes because I need to get to work. And for whatever reason, that time in the morning, I'm itching to get into the studio. So I let the breakfast dishes go. They do remain in the sink. And then at lunchtime, I pick them up. So I digress. But anyways, I time how long it takes me to do dishes. If it's only like dishes for one meal, it's less than 10 minutes. Less than 10 minutes. So why do we waste so much mental space thinking, I got to do the dishes. Oh, you think I can beg my husband to do it? Why do I have to do the dishes? It's 10 minutes, ladies. 10 minutes. So just get over there and do it. It's only 10 minutes. I time how long it takes me to do laundry. I've timed it so much over the years that I know just based on how bulging the baskets are, how long it's going to take me. And for the record, for my family of 6, and we are work at home people, so we're not necessarily ironing shirts and things like that. I do speaking engagements and things like that, but I'm a big fan of the sundress, so I am not ironing very many things. And then my husband's a farmer. So, and then one of my son, the only son I have, only wears gym clothes, which are awesome, difficult to fold, but are great because you don't have to iron anything. So anyways, our laundry, we don't have to go to the step of ironing, which is a good thing for stay-at-home workers, right? So it takes me about a day and a half, maybe a day and a third, because I start Sunday night to get Gus's stuff started. And then the whole next day, it's just washing and drying them load after load. I don't do any of the folding during the day. I preserve that for after supper on Monday nights. Then I fold all my laundry. But I've timed it. How long does a load take? My washer takes about 29 minutes. My dryer takes about 40 minutes. What does yours take? And the reason, I should explain this, the reason why you need to time everything is because when everything feels overwhelmed and you're like, oh, I have 10 minutes or I have 20 minutes and I can't really start that because I don't know how long that takes. And I can't start that because I don't know how that long takes. I'm not going to start chores because I don't know how long that takes. If you time everything, you know how long it takes. So you do not waste that 10, 15 minutes on social media, scrolling Facebook, right? I just stung, didn't I? You were like, oh my gosh, that's so true. When you don't know how long something takes and you've got 15, 20 minutes before the next thing is like a hard deadline, like you have to be out the door to pick up the kids, or you promise yourself you wouldn't check email till 2, but you've got 20 minutes, whatever that hard deadline is. And you've got that 15 to 20 minutes of, oh, I don't know what I could start because I don't know how long it takes me. This solves that. I don't waste any 10, 15, 20 minutes because I know what can be done in 10, 15, 20 minutes. That's why you need to time everything. I time how long it takes to cook or to bake cookies so that, that doesn't seem like a burden. I'm like, oh my gosh, it only takes 26 minutes. You don't have to take it to the extreme that I do. We all know by now I'm an extreme nerd when it comes to numbers. So just do your best, but have a general idea, and then it'll prevent you from wasting 20 whole minutes. That's like an eternity. You can also time your email. I call it the admin hour, and my staff and family is all aware of when that happens. It's from about 1:30 to 2:30. Now, in the last year with all this growth, thankfully, blissfully, it takes me about an hour and a half to get through everything. And I first go through my index cards, and then I go through my email because I need to fire off my first frogs first before I'm responding to everybody. But I know that takes about an hour and a half. And then I can tell if the folder's getting really thick or there's 67 emails to check that day, it's going to take me longer for that admin hour. So I kind of adjust and go, ooh, it takes me an hour and a half for 40 detailed emails. That's not counting all the spam, we get. So I need to allow for an extra 30 minutes. Where is that going to fit in? So I can plan it before I get in the middle of it. And then I get frustrated because I didn't get through all of my email when I didn't plan how much time it was going to take me. These will be practices that will run in the back of your brain that will help you so much with planning ahead and keeping your stress level low because you know how long it will take you. For my own business, because I sew and design purses and accessories, I have timed what each process takes me. So I know how long it takes me to sew 100 straps, to serge 1,000 parts, to lay out the kits for 4 seamstresses, to do shipping. I know how long it takes so that I can block it in and give it the appropriate amount of time. And be honest with yourself, because if you don't give it enough time when you're like, why is this taking me 35 minutes? If you can make it better, do. Otherwise, just leave it at 35 minutes. Or you stress out because you're not finishing that and you're not being honest about how long it really does take to do a good job. And then it reflects on your children and your family life, and especially your own stress. So give yourself enough time, just time how long it is so you know. The second secret is that you need to have a place for everything. This is super important. I read a book by Marie Kondo, and it's called The Kondo Method, I believe. Don't quote me, but it is a really good book about how to narrow down what's in your life to only keep the things that are effective and efficient. And it's no secret that I love to purge. Like if I get a free Saturday morning, I am in everybody's closet and I am purging, getting rid of things. If they outgrew it or they outgrew the toy or whatever it is, if I can convince my husband to get rid of his high school t-shirts, whatever it is, purging, because the more that's out of our life that we don't need, the more good things that can come in. Okay. If the shelf is empty, it means there's room for more goodness and blessings to come into our life. Okay. So that's why I love to purge. I love to go through my desk drawer and clean everything out through my bathroom bins, whatever it is. And the reason that the purging is important because I need to have a place for everything. So the best thing to do would be to walk around your home and find out what areas have left messes for you. Like what seems to be your Achilles heel? Like, is your dining room table always full of papers and that's why you don't eat at it? We're a big farm family, so it's important for us to eat at our dining room table. And so I've got a pretty little turquoise tray and a rope basket from my favorite cowboys out in Wyoming Silvers. Look them up. They're fantastic. They make the coolest jewelry and rope baskets. Anyways, things that bring me joy, they'll sit on my dining room table and they're easily removed by the kiddos so they can set the table where we sit. If it is piled up with homework and paperwork and Barbie dolls, whatever it might be, you're less likely to sit at that table. And that has been a priority for me and my husband. And so we keep that space clean. So what could you do and where could you find a place for all that stuff that's out of place? Pick a folder. You don't have to think about this for forever, but look around objectively and go, okay, I need to find a place for that because I have moved it from there to there to there for the last 2 weeks. So for example, we have a place for the paperwork that we were just talking about. I have a touch it once paper system that I learned from Tiffany Hagen, and it's on one of my episodes in the first series. Look up the Tiffany Hagen touch it once paper system. Not even kidding. One of the largest changes I made in the last 2 years of my life. It is a game changer. So when any paper comes in, I get to file it neatly in the day that I can deal with it in the file cabinet and it's put away. I don't have homework laying everywhere, conferences, bills, whatever. None of that. It's all in the file cabinet. So listen to that episode. So I have a place for all my papers. I have a place for all the groceries. So if you've got where your cereal boxes go, that's where they go. If you started to get into a new health kick and you need to know where the protein powder is going to go, find a place for it so that it's put away and it has a place when you get home for groceries. I know that it only takes me about 11 minutes to put my groceries away. Why? Because I have a place for everything, right? I know where the extra mustard is going to go. It's going to go in the pantry because we're already using the current mustard. It doesn't have to be like super refined other than a general place where this is where this goes. And when you're picking up something new, like a health kick or a new diet or something, you find a place for those items. So each time when you bring them home to help encourage that new skill or that new cooking or whatever it might be, there is a place for it. Another thing that's in our house pretty much everywhere is sports equipment and Barbie dolls. We love them. So the sports equipment are kind of awkward. So I just looked up some Pinterest ideas on how to store basketballs and footballs and that sort of thing, and then started implementing them in my son's room so that he's got a place when I say, hey, time to pick up. Also, picking up lasts about 20 minutes, even when it's a disaster, because all the kids know where their things go. There's a place for them. Our Barbie dolls are stored in the coolest place ever. It's just a shoe rack that stands up against the wall in the toy closet. So there's like, I don't know, about 30 different pockets, and they can put their Barbies neatly in the pockets and their hair doesn't get smushed and all that. And they're easy to grab out when it's time to play again. So I have a place for everything that seems out of place at first. So I suggest walking your home and just kind of looking and going, okay, I've got to find a place for that because that is not in its place. And I just keep moving it from one place to the other. So the first two were time everything, have a place for everything. And then the third thing is that you need to bless everything. That's the secret. When I'm sitting here recording this podcast early in the morning, it's about 6:30. Both of my two older daughters are now sitting on my lap and happily ready for me to be done. I am so blessed that I get to wake up to them every morning and I'm not starting the car to head out the door. I'm blessed that I have a cup of tea right here that I didn't have to pay for by driving through a drive-through. I love my studio space. As I walk into my studio space, I say, thank you, God, so much. I love this space. And thank you for this job. And thank you for this farm. And thank you for, it's a mindset thing where you just continue to bless everything, right down to your cell phone. How many people don't have smartphones? Like, what a blessing that I could send a picture of my children in the morning to Papa and Nana. What a blessing. So walk around blessing things because it gets you into the mindset of gratitude and attracting more things that you love into your life. So think about the areas in your life that need to be blessed. Think about your children. Think about the inanimate things, your favorite coffee mug, your awesome desk, even if it's small and you want a bigger one eventually. Bless everything, and then more good things will start ushering in. So the top 3 secrets to work from home for me have been: I time everything, I have a place for everything, and I bless everything. If you can keep these 3 things in the back of your brain when you're starting to work from home, it will help ensure a little bit more success. And I'm always careful to remind you that I am always humbled and I screw these things up all the time too. But if you have a good idea and you're encouraged and at least start them, it will make things grow better. I am constantly adapting new systems and new places to put things, but start somewhere, okay? So we got this, encouragers. All we need to do is time it, have a place for it, and bless it. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you have not done so, please subscribe to the show so that the latest episode will always be conveniently available on your device. You can also find the show notes on my website at shoprsd.com. That's shop with R as in Rebekah, S as in Scott, and D as in designs.com. The Encourager Podcast tab is at the bottom of my website, which holds some great resources like my recommended book page, how to rate and review my podcast, and reflection guides that correspond with each episode. Each review and rating is so valuable to us. I sincerely hope you feel encouraged and empowered to tackle anything that comes your way this week. Remember to be grateful, humble, and kind. Then joy will come ushering in. Until next time on The Encourager.